Jumping into online ads with 2 feet, maybe it's not time yet. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to another video. My name is Nikos. This is mentorsapproach.com, where we strive to make a video each and every week to get you thinking and moving in the right direction. So hit subscribe. Today we're talking about this idea of jumping into online ads and not taking the time to plan accordingly. Why is this a critical video? Why is it critical that you watch this if you're doing that? You might be a, small hustle on the side trying to get going. You might be a small business. You might have a brick and mortar little store. You might have employees and you might be trying to grow. There's different aspects of it. Does it apply to everybody? Yes, it does apply to everybody. Why? Because we only have a finite amount of money to invest into this stuff. We need to see a return on investment. And most of the time when I have conversations with people about this topic, they have no plan. They have no budget. They don't actually have a vision of what they want. They don't understand how online ads work. They don't get the whole idea of content and how content should work online. They don't understand their actual demographics and all the rest of the marketing jargon that exists. And they don't, and I repeat, they don't have a decision-making ability that is quick and efficient with no emotions attached. Now, how do we look at this as a big picture so we can analyze it and put it into perspective if you are in this situation? If you're thinking about doing online ads or you've jumped into online ads and it's not working out. The main goal of online ads is to see a return on investment. So if you have a dollar that you're investing into something, are you going to get 5 back? Are you going to get 10 back? Are you going to get 20 back? How does that work for you and what do you see and what is it worth it to you? This is critical. You want to know this. So if I have any type of business, I want to know within that business, what should be my return on investment on every dollar I spend. And if I'm not hitting it, then I know that I need to reanalyze it. Okay? Simple. We know this is the number one thing. 2, it's what are we willing to put into the pot? What is our budget for it? And how does it make sense in relation to what our business really needs? What is it making and what can I actually do without risking the business? We see oftentimes people who throw too much money at it and then they lose it all and they go, oh, I can't pay my payroll. And you're like, what? Decision making comes from planning, comes from understanding your business, understanding that you need to sit down and ask yourself what and who you really are as an individual and the business and what it really is. We got to separate ourselves. We got to separate it and say to ourselves, here's our business. Here is me running the business. Now, how do I, as a leader, run this business for growth? It doesn't matter if you're just starting out, side hustle, or a big gun with 50 employees. It does not matter. It all works the same, especially when we're talking about jumping into online media. Content management comes into play. Online ads is, in 2021, is in a place of critical thought process of where you're making any type of content and how you can use that with online ads. Often is a case where we talk to a lot of people who've worked with an agency or they hired somebody or they took online courses or they just jumped into any type of content making and they didn't plan out their content such that they can use it in ads. And usually is the case where people who are asking me this original question of should I jump into online ads? What should I be doing beforehand? This is where we have to have this conversation and we say, well, what about your content? What's happening with your content? That's it. How does your content relate to your business? And where's your business going? What is the storyline down the road of you making your content? Do you see a progressive growth happening? And where's your budget as it relates to your business? Not you, your business. You're the leader guiding this ship. What is the whole business plan and what is the marketing in relation to that business plan? The marketing plan should come out of that and you should be able to tell us what is your budget like this. I know my budgets for each business. I know the budget for each company we're working with. I know when I'm coaching somebody for an extended period of time, I know their budgets for everything in the business and I can sit there and I can tell them, hey, maybe you should increase this by 5 to 10% or decrease it by 5 to 10%. We're not seeing what we need there. Yet, most of the people I talk to, no budget. I don't know. They're thinking about themselves and their wallets instead of their business and what their business really needs. Because really, let's face it, we're not taught this in school the way we should be. And then when we start a business, we're thinking of the business until it starts to really grow. We're thinking of it as us. And we're thinking about our pockets. We're thinking about what the business is going to make based on what's going to be in our pockets, instead of what do I need to invest into the business to keep it growing. So we need to take a step back. As I've said in previous videos, we need to look at the planning. We need to understand what is the plan, the mission and purpose of the business, where is it going? And we need to understand this. And then we got to understand the budgets we have for different things within the business. Marketing should be one of them, and you should be able to explain what that budget is actually doing. So if you're going to say, I got $1,000, I got 12 grand for the year, $1,000 a month. And if I start making a return on investment on that $1,000, I can increase it by 5 to 10% every month. You should be able to tell me that. What would be the number you need to hit? Now, once we have this planning, we start to look at the idea of risk mitigation that we're going to put into this. So if I start spending every month $1,000, what do I know is a critical factor for the business? Okay, what is the critical factor that's going to ask me to say, hey, full stop, let's reanalyze the plan because the plan ain't working if I'm not hitting that return on investment that I'm expecting? And how do I restructure the plan? These are critical steps. We got to put that into the plan, and we got to know when we're going to do this decision. We're going to execute on this part of the plan so we can reanalyze everything. And then from there, what we want to do is look at it in terms of, I have this budget, but in order to achieve something like online marketing ads, what we need to do is say to ourselves, what do we need as a foundation as it relates to the business and where the business is going? Now we start to get into the whole idea of what our advertising will be in relation to the marketing plan. So if I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to jump into 3 plans, I'm going to make ads for these 3 apps. I'm going to jump into 3 apps, make ads for these 3 apps. What do I actually need? I need this content, and this content has to serve several purposes. What are those purposes? How do they relate back to the business? And how can I take those different sets of content and switch them into ads? We need to be smart about this, because when I go out and I shoot a video for a client, guess what? I'm charging for that, and I'm charging a lot of money. And guess what? If they needed something else, they're going to have to pay me more money to come out and do something else. We got to be really smart about this. Now, if you don't hire somebody to do that and you're going to do it on your own, you still got to buy the equipment, and then you got to put your time into it. And once you do all these things, now you start to realize, hey, oh my God, I'm spending too much time. I could have hired somebody, but then this would have been a waste anyways, and we got to go through our learning curve, which would be our trial and error phase, where we need to know part of that budget is going to be that trial and error. And we got to start focusing on storyline, and we got to find somebody that's going to be able to help us with that, so we're not wasting time, energy, and money in any of this. Online ads are either the greatest thing ever for a business or the worst thing for a business when it comes to money. Because you look at it and you say, if you're not returning an investment, it's a waste and it's hurting your bottom line. And then you start to struggle and you start to swim in mud because you end up going over budget and you're in a critical situation. We've seen people with this, especially over COVID. We've seen so many people try to do it on their own, or they took a course and the course was like, go do this, this, and this. And they never looked at their business. They never looked at anything. They're just explaining to them how to do it and go do it. And they go and do it. They lose money. They go back to the coach or the person that made the program, and then they're like, the system works. It's your business. And then they don't have any money to put back into the business. And then they start to swim in mud. And this is a repeat that we've seen over and over and over. All because the planning isn't there. This is planning 101. Yes, it goes deeper into it. I'm launching the courses soon. If you need help with all of this, we're going to be offering these courses that explain a lot of this whole walkthrough of planning and scaling, because this is the most critical aspect. Scaling is something that we don't see people talk about as much as they should. Scaling your business. If you don't have processes in place to scale the business, when you start doing ads, this kills any opportunity of the future. And this is where once you start hitting those return on investment marks, you start to realize you have a big problem because you can't keep up with demand. And this is where we see a lot of businesses fail because they can't keep up. And then the demand, really, that's demand going up. turns a negative turns a positive into a negative in thought process of the consumer coming to your door. They see the ad and then they don't get the quality of service they're expecting. They're not getting what they expected. And that reputation, where it was up here, starts to come down. And this is where a lot of people start to pull money on the ads. They start to slow down stuff. And then when they finally restructure everything, their ads don't go back to where they want them to. And then they go, what do I do? And that's another hurdle to jump through that you don't want to be through. My name is Nikos. This is mentorsapproach.com. Hit that like button if you like what you see. Of course, hit the subscribe button and leave your comment below. What's your experience on this whole idea of online ads? Have you been successful at it? Have you failed at it? Are you one of those that keeps trying and isn't getting somewhere with it? And have you thought about all these stuff? And what are you going to do about it?